Great. I know you all love crypto, and I am here to talk about how crypto can accelerate science and especially longevity, how crypto can have a real-world impact in matters of life and death. So I just want to go quickly through a few slides before we sit down for a fireside chat, just to broadly give a sense of what we're going to talk about and why this is so important. So I'm Lawrence Ion. I'm a co-creator of VitaDAO, Vitalia, and Zuzalu, and a bunch of other organizations. And I am very much inspired by what kinds of things humans can coordinate to achieve. And crypto, ultimately, it's about coordination. How we can put people on the moon the same way. I think we should wake the fuck up and really handle science, really cure all diseases, and especially starting with aging, because we all have this terminal disease that we all are going to degenerate and eventually die unless we do something about it. And regulations are really a huge bottleneck. We need to exit the status quo where we have this invisible graveyard of people dying waiting for medicine that would have saved their lives. And drugs that target aging are the future of medicine. Instead of managing symptoms, keeping people in a poor state of health for longer with the traditional pharma drugs, we'd rather address the root cause, aging itself, and prevent and keep people healthy in optimal health as long as possible without any limit. And the good news is, of course, we've managed to reverse and slow down aging in lab animals with dozens of pharmaceutical interventions already. And as a founding member of VitaDAO, this online community that's aligned for collective action, funding early-stage research and spinning out new longevity biotech companies, we've shown that we can fund dozens of projects, deploy millions of dollars, and spin out companies, one of them being already ready for clinical trials, but it takes so long. Usually it takes 10, 20 years to make a new trial. So, I have this dream. What if we could create new drugs at warp speed, just like we did for COVID, for the COVID vaccines, with Operation Warp Speed, for every age-related disease like Alzheimer's, heart disease, cancer, and so on. So on the order of 4 months instead of 10 plus years, in the order of $1 million per drug instead of billions. And we have created cities before to fix a crisis with science. It was called Los Alamos, and aging is definitely a crisis, and we should apply the same thinking. But starting new cities is hard, so we thought of this MVP, going one order of magnitude further than co-living spaces in number of people, and one order of magnitude further than conferences in duration, to create a pop-up city. And that's why I got involved with Vitalik to do the first pop-up city called Zuzalu in Montenegro. Last year, 200 people for 2 months gathered to see how it would feel like to live in an intentional village and see if we would want to live there together. And it was really life-changing. We had healthy food available readily, and exercising together and tracking our biomarkers and a lot of healthy habits, as well as exploring how we can advance crypto and AI and longevity. Then I started Vitalia, a pop-up city focused on longevity specifically, with this possibility to actually become a permanent district in a special economic zone in Roatan, Honduras. There were some issues there. Now I'm looking at this whole movement. Both Zuzalu and Vitalia are inspiring a bunch of other pop-up cities like Zeller City in Berlin in October, November, where I'll be as well. And I'm looking at many jurisdictions where we can potentially establish such a new city, a new Dubai, a new Singapore, where we come together and have this all these top researchers in the field, top medical staff create a tier 1 hospital, bring billions of dollars in investment, 1 million people to create this rich megacity focused on medical innovation and really cure all diseases quickly, in time for my parents and in time for you and your parents. I would also love to see each and every one of you join the swarm. This is a group where you can do at least one action, at least something like a retweet, or if you want also, of course, go deeper and join a DAO or change your career into this or move to a new city if you really love life and you want to live. Also, if you're going to be here this week, I will have these interactive longevity workshops where we sit in a circle and discuss these things much more in depth. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'd love to see you at the Huerta Co-working. Thank you, and now we're going to go deeper into a little chat.
So I think I've heard you speak about longevity quite a lot over the past couple months. But for those of you that haven't heard the reason, I'm curious to learn what sparked your interest in longevity, right? Like, what's the story behind that?
Yeah, I was born with a genetic disease that caused me to have a lot of health issues. I know most young people are healthy, right? And they don't really think about this. They're not present with this idea of degenerating and being frail eventually and old and with disease. But I've had a lot of surgeries across my childhood and spent a lot of time in hospitals. Initially wanted to become a doctor. It wasn't really for me. I was more of a techie and geek and good at math and this stuff. So I went into more of the computer science stuff. Then started some tech companies and eventually came back to what's most important to me, which is health. So I started investing initially, and then VitaDAO and Zuzalu and Vitalia and so on. So now that's why I'm here in Argentina, because this is a potential location for us to start a new city, bring a lot of people into a special jurisdiction, remove a lot of the bottlenecks, the regulation. So it's super exciting.
You started with saying that it roots back into your childhood, into the times in your life where you had to struggle with your own health. For those of you that are listening and that have attended the Huerta workshops, I really like them because I learn about what I can do to improve my own health. So what are the basic things that people can do to actually increase their lifespan? Can you actually change something in your life right now towards longevity?
I definitely think we can all live a bit healthier, and that's why, for me, it's hard to eat healthy if I'm surrounded by unhealthy food and with restaurants that are not cooking in the ideal way. So one thing you can do is, of course, live in a place where there's no junk food and there's healthy food around you. People are exercising around you and motivating you as well. Otherwise, I will never be motivated enough to exercise if I don't see others do it. But there's all these things like supplements and so on. We don't really know what works. We have zero interventions that are proven to extend lifespan in humans. So the best thing you can do if you want to live longer and healthier is to help advance the science. Join the swarm and do something, at least a small action, if not change your whole career to advance this. And I don't mean everyone needs to be a scientist. There's a lot of things. We need programmers, we need lawyers, we need marketers, we need movie makers, right, to inspire the world. I also started Jellyfish DAO, which is funding movies, showing a world where we don't have aging. And I think that can really actually spark a movement into the mainstream. So yeah, you can do what your grandma would tell you, right, and eat healthy. The hardest thing is the habits. So like, it's easier if you live with like-minded people. Your life is better if you're living healthy. You're more productive and so on. Ideally more productive towards the same goal of curing aging. And then after that, you can do everything you want.
But how can science cure aging?
Well, so we don't have any law of physics that shows humans or anything has to die. Of course, there's the whole entropy increasing and heat death of the universe, but that's not very relevant. Right now, we have these diseases of aging, right? And we don't have to have those. It's we see animals that live much longer or rejuvenate themselves, that have negligible senescence, and you know, trees as well, but also immortal jellyfish, and all kinds of animals that just really don't age. And if they wouldn't be captured or have some other issues, they would never really die. And we should definitely look more into that and see how we can translate to humans things that we do for other machines as well. Like, it's a bit weird to say humans, machines, but ultimately you can keep a car running for a lot longer if you clear up the damage that accumulates with time, with age. We're just a much more complex machine. I do think that with science we can get anything done that isn't prohibited by the laws of physics. We don't know when and so on. There's a lot of unknowns, but I definitely think we should try. And the same with, you know, how do you know we can fly? Well, we didn't know until we did it. Actually, even after the Wright brothers flew, top physicists were saying it's impossible because they didn't believe it. And, you know, going to the moon or splitting the atom and so on, big endeavors, we eventually get them done. So I hope the same, but we just need to do it faster. We're already on the way to cure most diseases, right? We're trying to do that. It's just right now we're doing it in a bad way. We're like managing symptoms, keeping people in a poor state of health for longer. Let's reach a new paradigm of medicine where we target aging, which is the biggest culprit.
And why faster?
Because you know, my mom is not gonna stay alive for much longer. We need to do something in time for her, I hope. Also for ourselves and for all our loved ones. 110,000 people are dying every day from aging. That's basically 1 second, one life. It's 40 million people per year. And this is a crisis. I don't know why we're just not screaming right now.
Most people don't focus on this crisis.
I know.
Yes, but this movement does seem really niche. Do you think it can actually grow towards millions and billions of people caring about this problem?
Yeah, I really hope people will wake up. Wake the fuck up. Just come on. Like, this is it. This is life. I know it's kind of crazy, but it just makes sense. It doesn't make sense to just accept this. I mean, I guess if you cannot change it, then sure, make peace with it. But otherwise, we need to get rid of this coping mechanism of saying, it's impossible, therefore, it's like the fruit that's too high, I don't want it anyway, right? So I do think to reach millions, billions, we just need something in terms of psychology, in terms of public discourse, probably movies that inspire the world, stories, not just movies, video games, anything, any kind of story that just changes people's mindset a bit.
What evidence is out there to believe that this is even possible? By this, meaning longevity, that we could live forever.
There are animals that live much longer than us as well. There are animals that don't age. There are differences between, for example, mice and naked mole rats, or rats and naked mole rats. 10 times, like naked mole rats never get cancer, and they don't show any sign of aging, and they live at least 10 times longer than their similar rat counterparts. Aging is malleable. We've reversed or slowed down aging in lab animals with pharmaceutical interventions, and so we can make it faster, we can make it slower, we can reverse it. There's a lot of promising technologies out there. We just gotta do it.
What do you think some challenges would be if we live much longer?
Well, people come up with all kinds of counter-arguments and concerns, and indeed, with every new technology, you invent the plane, you invent the plane crash, you invent fire, you also invent tragedy, or knife. You can also invent basically murder with a knife or whatever. Any tool can be used in bad ways too. As technology is improving our lives, it's also creating new challenges. That doesn't mean we shouldn't create those technologies. So I do think we need to figure out how to ensure that there won't be ossification of power structures as people live much longer, any kind of issues of power and control. But that's sort of separate. Like I would say that's not because people live longer. You don't want to kill people earlier, so to prevent ossification. Even today, we do have a gerontocracy. We have, as you have seen with the current leadership in the world, they're quite old, and this is not going to change. What we need is to rejuvenate them so they can also change with the times. Maybe if you have, for example, immortal dictators, you can be worried about that, being from Eritrea. Right? But I would say usually dictators don't die from aging. They die from they don't die from natural causes. They're usually, toppled over. They have coups, and also usually the people that inherit the power from there are worse. So that's not a solution either. So yeah, challenges, we gotta find solutions. Of course, when you think about many people, you might think about overpopulation. If we stay on this planet and people don't really die anymore from aging, I do think still they will die from other causes, but I don't like those causes of death either. If they're involuntary, I don't like them. Even suicide, I don't really like. Nobody really likes it, right? Of course, I do respect people's choice to stop living if they really want to, but most of the time, suicide is a mistake. So, okay, you have a lot of people, but why is that bad? I think that's a really good thing. I would love to have 1,000 Einsteins and 1,000 Van Neumanns and 1,000 Elon Musks to grow everything, like our knowledge a lot more. And I would like us to expand and go to the stars and be trillions of people in millions of galaxies.
Mm-hmm. I was recently watching Lex Friedman's podcast with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk says we need more people. So he actually encouraged people to make more children because we're underpopulated right now. So I don't know if that would be the main challenge, but I think about when I met you a couple months ago, Lawrence, in Zanzibar, the first question he asked me was, if you could take a pill, and if you continue taking this pill, you would live forever. Would you ever stop taking this pill? And no one's ever asked me that question, so I had to think. And so I'm curious to hear from you guys. If you had a pill, this magic pill, and if you continue to take the pill, you would stay the same age and live a healthy life. But if you stop taking the pill, you would start aging. Would you ever stop taking the pill?
How many people would take the pill, first of all? All right. And how many people would...
Soon you wouldn't take the pill.
It's fine. Some people are already aging and sleeping. How many people would... stop before 100. So assuming you're in optimal health and you're 99 years old, you're perfect health, you reach 100, you're like, okay, I stopped taking the pill. Nobody. Well, maybe one person. What about 150? 200? Okay,
Why
we have some
200?
takers, 4 people.
A lot of people, even in the workshop last time, said 200.
Yeah.
Why 200?
I really think it's a limitation of the status quo. If we found people on another planet that lived only 30, 40 years, we think what a pity. and they would probably be used to it and be like, I wouldn't want to live 80 years, that's way too much, right? But we are okay with 80 years, this is our average. And so most people will answer 80 years. You guys are more futuristic. Also depends on how you frame the question. If we found people living on a planet 1,000 years, usually, they would pity us. They'd be like, oh, this is way too short. Yeah.
How can we ensure that the pill gets in the right hands if the cure ends up being a pill?
I think generally technology gets cheaper over time. The first iPhone was more expensive, right? And the first smartphone. But we don't have billionaires that have access to like super expensive $1 million phones or $1 million movies. They still watch the same $10 movie that we do. So when you scale something, you can make a lot of money by making it really cheap. And then on the other side, you have this inverted pyramid in society right now with more people over 65 than people under 5 already. And it's unsustainable. Most people under 5 years old are in developing nations, and they cannot pay for the pensions of when we're gonna be old, for example. So instead of having to pay for elderly care and keeping people in a hospital bed in their last year of life, which is 80% of their healthcare spend in the last year of life, instead of paying for all of that, which is up to 15% of our GDP, we rejuvenate people for free. We give them a free pill, right? So we don't have to pay for them. And also, then they can contribute more to society. They can compound their knowledge, and their output basically will increase exponentially over time, I think. So we would definitely want people to have this for free, just like vaccines. It's kind of like vaccines.
Does your work ever feel like a dystopia, like a faraway reality, or it feels tangible to you?
No, it's very tangible. It's every day I think about this and I care about this, and it feels like, yeah, we need to move faster, but we're getting there. Yeah, I see a lot of progress. It's just with the current feedback loop of 10, 15, 20 years for every new drug, I know my mom is not going to make it. I probably wouldn't make it either. So I want us all to make it. So we need to just move faster with innovation in medicine with this new paradigm. And yeah, I also think we need more people to innovate more and solve all kinds of other challenges as well. I'm curious, so definitely make more babies. I want to see an Aleph baby be born in 9 months from now. We do have the first Zuzalian. Someone conceived at Zuzalo. He's 6 months old right now. So.
That's funny. You talked about your work feeling very tangible, and I'm curious, where do you see longevity research headed over the next decade? What do we really, really need to focus on? If someone's listening and interested in DeSci, what type of research do you recommend that they look into?
So there's the damage repair approach. We take it more like with a car, where you try to reverse the damage that has accumulated. You replace the filters, the pipes, clear up the gunk that accumulates. That's doable for humans as well. Then there's the partial reprogramming. There's these Yamanaka factors, for example, are one set of genes, and there's other sets of genes that you can literally give to a cell, it becomes younger. You can turn back the clock and rejuvenate cells all the way to stem cell, but you can also do partially, and they just become a little bit younger, and the tissue improves in every function. Then there's tissue replacements, organ replacements, but also potentially whole body replacement, which is a bit more controversial, but really cool things to look into. Replacing Aging is a book by Jean Hebert. Ageless is another book that if you wanted to dive deeper into this, look into that. There's also continuous hormonal rebalancing. You can have these implants that look at what's going on in your blood and give you more of this or that hormone, or even other molecules as well, to keep you at an optimal state as you age. That can be also really cool. These are the top approaches I've seen. cryopreservation as well as a backup, because if we don't make it and don't solve these issues soon, at least you can pause biology, you can go into cryopreservation and be preserved to be brought back when the technology is ready. It's a sort of a plan B that I recommend everyone sign up for cryonics, Alcor, Tomorrow Bio.
Not me. Not me.
Why?
Something about my body being frozen, cold, does not sound appealing. I barely like those ice plunges. No.
You barely like them? I think, so of course, if you think about the cold, but you would be dead otherwise. So imagine this, your heart stops 100 years ago. They just say, okay, you're dead, right? Then we figured out, oh, actually we can bring this person back. We can take them to the hospital, we can resuscitate. So we don't declare them dead anymore. They just, their heart stopped for a bit. Now we brought them back. So if you have some terminal disease, terminal cancer, whatever, you're technically dead right now. So you don't feel anything, but you just get preserved. Because in the future, it's like going into an ambulance to a hospital to the future, where they can cure whatever ailed you, and so then you decide when you're brought back. I don't know.
Are some of these thoughts inspired by these sci-fi books or movies?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
I love.
Which ones?
It's just, from when I was a kid, like Star Wars and Star Trek, seeing that futuristic stuff, and I don't know about cryonics and longevity. I don't remember which ones, but movies and books, yeah.
And since we don't have any more time, last question is, how can people connect with you, and what would you like them to connect with you on?
So I'm Lawrence Ion on social media, pretty easy to find. VitaDAO is an open community. You can just join the Discord server, chat with us, hang out for a week or two, see how you like it, see what you might want to contribute and learn. Zuzalo is a decentralized community now with a lot of pop-up cities, so maybe join in one of them, just like Aleph. If you loved it here, come to some future ones. The next one I'll be in is probably Zeller City. I might go to Lisbon Arc, but I'm not sure. So at least I can recommend Zeller. Yeah. Best thing is to interact more in person. I'm kind of tired of online. Yeah.
And then most importantly, where do people get longevity t-shirts like you?
You can just DM me and I'll get you some. My friend Nathan Chang from Healthspan Capital and Longevity Biotech Fellowship made these. Longevity Biotech Fellowship is a program you can join on August 21st in Nevada City, California, and they have every 6 months or so a retreat to get into longevity. If you want to change your career or at least open up your mind about these things, they take you from zero to hero in longevity.
Amazing. Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you, Coco.